So Katips, how you doing, man?
Doing well. I am still reeling off of that excellent, well, some would say questionable win with Hunter by Celador, but excited to see the two of the better players in Singapore up head to head against each other.
Yep. I mean, going into this tournament so far, at the very start of this day, Korea dispatched Ardo in a 3-0 victory. The same can be said for Wensushi dispatching as well. Celador there with a 3-0 victory. But of course, we did see that previous best out of 5 series, Celador finally able to find some traction, a little bit of RNG in his favor. But I mean, nothing to discredit from him. He did a really good job with the plays that he did, and he deserves the fact that he will be able to fight whoever loses in this best out of 5 here in this winners bracket. So without further ado, I'm sure everyone wants to play, I mean not play, but watch this crazy Hearthstone action here. We've got the winners bracket, best out of 5 series. It's Korea versus Wensushi, game number 1. Let's do this. We've got Wensushi here, gonna be taking the top board and Korea at the bottom board here. And guess what? It's that Miracle Rogue that Korea oh so much hates. Let's see how this is gonna go.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I finally get to see Sushi's Miracle Rogue right in action, right in a very big game against a very, very good player. So quite excited for this match.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Wensushi, well known for, his RNG there in terms of his Miracle Rogue. He's won a best out of 5 series there. I mean, cycle number 1, he won that first best out of 5 series and brought it to the second one, but eventually Korea was able to, fight back and be able to win here. Unfortunately for Korea this time around, looking at his hand, it's not the best right here. Wensushi actually just gonna go ahead and hero power up and attack the face there, but Korea in response does have that Harvest Golem on the board.
So Korea is running what looks to be a token druid. You can tell with the Violet Hunter. Oh, sorry, with the Violet Hunter, Violet Teacher.
Yep.
With which combos into Power of the Wild and combos into stuff like Swipe. So he has a pretty good hand to ramp up with in his hand right now. So let's see what Wensushi chooses to put down as a threat. Oh, what's this? Yep. Cold Light Oracle for the card draw.
Yeah, apparently he's gonna go for more card draw, although that just gets dealt easily. And now the Violet Teacher is going to make her appearance here onto the board. Now there's a couple of options that Wensushi can actually go for. I believe the best play is to probably get rid of this Violet Teacher right now. I mean, he does have that SI Agent for that 2 more damage, which I think is probably the better play here. I don't know. What do you feel is his best option in this turn?
Well, Token Druid really relies on these token generators, and once you start to get 3 to 4 minions on board, and then you start to do stuff like Power of the Wild and Savage Roar, it can steamroll very quickly. So I would like the idea of getting rid of the Violet Teacher right now. But let's see. Sushi's luck is on his side. Let's see if what his next play becomes fortunate for him in the middle.
Yep, so he's really thinking hard and long about whether or not he wants to use the SI Agent. But yep, there we go. He's going to go ahead and use it, deciding whether or not to run himself into the Violet Teacher, or even possibly going for phase. Well, I guess that's understandable. I mean, he does have that Blade Fury in his hand already, so he can always use that to clear the board later on.
Yeah, that's right. So it's going to be a very good value for him if he holds on to that Blade Flurry. As we can see now, that's probably going to work to his advantage now, using that Power of the Wild up.
I think that was a misplay there by Korea. I think he clicked the card a little bit too soon. I think he really wanted to use that that power there. I mean, that's
definitely not the correct play. Oh boy.
I think he's got to be feeling pretty bad about that. I mean, he does at least have a full board, but it's probably going to be cleared right here.
Oh boy, that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt him. Wensushi, as we know, he has put down a single minion so far, and he's about to get maximum value off of his Blade Flurry, so...
Plus Leroy Jenkins making his entrance. Yeah, we're gonna see the coin into the Blade Fury here. I think that's pretty easy right there with the 6 to the face. Oh man, it's looking pretty bad for Korea. I think that mistake was quite... It's really gonna hurt him a lot.
Yep, he now has to make the tough choice of using swipe on a single Leroy or face taking so many damage in one turn with a lot of options still in Sushi's camp.
Hmm. And right there, you see Wensushi. It seems like he's gonna go ahead and shadow step Leroy back there. Doesn't want it to die to any of these minions in the board. I mean, he does have by all means, the ability to just hero power up and run into it if need be. But yeah, I mean, Wensushi so far is taking over control, but we can't discount Cray just yet. He still has decent minions in hand. You can always just throw that Harvest Golem armor up with his hero power, start to build a bit of a base HP pool there for himself, because I think that play over there really kind of damaged him a bit.
Yeah, that's right. So he's probably going to want to hold on to his big game hunter in case Edwin makes an appearance. But he does know that Leroy is already in hand and probably has most of the components of his combo in play. So he has to start putting up a defense, and it's probably going to have to come soon.
Mm-hmm. So right here, Wensushi is in fact going to go ahead and shift the Blood Mage Falanos that was played earlier by Korea. He actually gets King Mukla. Now that's a pretty interesting addition to his deck from the last time that we've actually casted him play his Miracle Rogue. So it's pretty interesting to see King Mukla, but I think this point in time, you don't necessarily want to play that so late into the game. It is midway already. So giving bananas to opponents could potentially make it a lot harder for Wensushi to, get some footing in this game.
And that's also a potential combo for Korea, because imagine if you can put bananas on the opponent's creatures. Oh wait, if can you put bananas on opponent's creatures? Because if you can, that could be a combo into Big Game Hunter, but I'm not sure.
Well, I'm not too sure about that. I don't think it. I think it's only friendly targets, if I'm not mistaken. Hopefully, Korea does map over the cards there to see what it actually does. But yeah, I mean, Korea here, he does get the Druid of the Claw. Swipe is gonna be the instant play here.
Yep, and then probably running the dude bro girlfriend. Oh wait, there he could have actually. Yeah, you can give any minion +1/+1. So.
Yep.
That could be a combo that can be saved for later, but he instead chooses to play it on the Harvest Golem now.
And that's actually pretty sick, because now that Harvest Golem is a 4 or 5. But of course, Wensushi has the perfect answer in hand. He always can rely on that sap, but I think he kind of want to save that for the Taunters in order to kind of win the game really quickly. So he's going to go ahead with the Cold Light Oracle. He's going to draw into Eviscerate as well as Gadgetson. So Gadgetson finally making his appearance. That guy's been missing for such a long time. The Eviscerate right to the face of Korea, and he is actually going to, in fact, sap out the Harvest Golem, essentially destroying the bananas.
That's right. So now Wensushi looks like he's setting up for his final play, going for multiple Leroys with returning him to his hand and playing him again. And we all know the Miracle Rogue combo. So it's up to Korea now to start putting up some sort of defense and take away all of the paths to his face. So,
well, I mean, what do you think is his best decision here?
Doesn't have any taunts so far. He does have Druid of the Claw, so he can play that.
Right. But is it? I mean, I think the general consensus is he's thinking that if he does play that, it's probably gonna get sapped back. Then maybe he's gonna die to some huge combo there. So whether or not we see that combo coming out is gonna be, we're gonna have to wait and see. But he is in fact gonna go ahead and just throw down the 4/6 there. That's Druid of the Claw, the taunted version. The bear form, so to speak. And in fact, thinking about throwing down the Harvest Golem, he is going to. And gonna go for face for 1 damage there. The Cold Light Oracle is still on the board there. So that is a decent minion. Can kind of help out.
Yep. He can easily pair it with something like comboing into Eviscerate. I believe he still has one more Eviscerate. He can... Yeah, so it's still up to Korea. Korea's still on the back foot, trying to stop the combo because he does know Leroy is in hand. So it's up to Wensushi now to get past these threats.
Now he's stuck in a really interesting position here, because he actually drew sap a turn too late. Let's see what he gets. Oh, that's a pretty good one. He's actually gonna go ahead and conceal. So seems like preparation is in fact gonna be used here. And that can be paired up with the Fan of Knives to, get a little bit more extra card draw. This is actually going to give him double card draw, unless he just wants to weapon up and, Deadly Poison. I guess that's also an option
Yep.
for Wensushi.
Yep. So I think he's also trying to save some cards and not blow it all on this single Druid of the Claw. He doesn't want to commit until he has his Miracle combo.
So, as you can see, he is in fact going to just go ahead and use the Deadly Poison, another preparation again, and he can go ahead with the second Fan of Knives. And that would just allow him to run himself into that 4-4 there. So he's going to get double card draw. And right now, it's looking pretty grim for Kriya, because his combo is starting to set up very nicely for himself.
Yep, that's right. So balls in Krea's court, how he chooses to. It is a pretty close game. It's 15 for Krea, and Wensushi's down to 13. And Krea has a number of options in his hand with how to play out the minions. Unfortunately, he is out of taunts, so he cannot stop something like a Leroy crazy combo. So we'll see what he comes up with as a defense.
Do you think he can find a way to get lethal here?
He is one mana short from swipe and force of nature. That's pretty unfortunate.
Yeah, it really is. And I think he's in this position where he probably knows that if he's not able to survive this next turn, he's probably going to die. He doesn't have a taunt as well. And the best part for Wensushi is that his minions are stealth. So Krea can't actually do anything to dispatch these minions.
Yeah, they're stealth and they're out of swipe range also in the case of the Cold Isle Oracle.
I guess if you think about it, had Krea kept the the Blood Rage Falanos, he might have had a chance to use that here. But again, it's a little too hard to tell. I mean, hindsight 50-50. It's just really difficult. He's gonna go ahead and attack face here with both his minions. And do you think he should just like Force of Nature?
Well, it's gonna be the same either way. It's gonna be 6 damage versus 4 damage, and the threat is the same for both options. For him next turn to see if he survives or not. So looks like he's going to be going for the Force of Nature option.
Yep, so he's going to essentially bring Wensushi down to only 3 life. But I think we all know Wensushi is going to be able to win this one already. I mean, Miracle Rogue is always that go-to for Wensushi here. Here we go. There's essentially 6 damage to the board. There is that Shadow Step and Leroy Jenkins, plus even the freaking Cold Blood, which is not even going to be necessary here. So, and a weapon in hand. So, nevertheless, this is going to be the first game going in favor there for Wensushi. Look at that buffed up Leroy Jenkins. At least he had chicken. And there you go. First game going to go in favor there for Wensushi. And I think Krea is in a pretty bad spot right now, because as history tells, when Wensushi is on a roll on that rogue, it just gets harder and harder.
He has, and I think the Miracle Rogue is actually a great play to his. Well, I wouldn't call it a strength, to his great fortune of having a lot of lucky draws, because he lowers the chances by playing stuff like a Concealed Genshan, Auctioneer, and maximizing his chances with his threats. So the fact that he's lucky is good on top of the fact that he plays the deck well. So it's working out very well for him.
Yep. Just one of his decks that he's really well known for. And I mean, it shows. It was really, really strong there against Krea. And I kind of want to ask you, coming back to the point there where Krea could have had a chance to buff all his minions up, do you think that was probably the best option?
That was definitely crucial, because he did get Sushi down to a very low health, and that could have spelled the difference between him being in swipe range. You know how he was a few damage short of finishing it off. So that could have been the crucial attack that could have been caused with the Power of the Wild on top of all those minions.
Yep, for sure. And with that being said, though, we have game number 2 here in the Best of 5 series, and Krea is now going to bring the Hunter, aka Huntard. And with that first minion on the board, I think we all know what this is going to be. That's the aggro face reconstruction Hunter, going to be facing against Wensushi's Miracle Rogue here.
It is the chat's favorite deck as of this day's tournament matches. So we're probably going to see a lot of favorable response from the chat with the choice of Krea's deck right now.
Yep. Unfortunately, Korea's Leper Gnome is in fact going to be dispatched very quickly there with that Shiv coming out from WinSushi. So I guess the Deadly Shot, yep, it's the only play for him here. Already down to 26 life is WinSushi, who is in fact going to weapon up and just end the turn there.
Yep, so Kriyak is able to keep the pressure up. It's going to be a choice of whether or not he uses Arcane Golem or just going to continue going with the face with his hero power. So let's see what he chooses. Okay, he chooses to go with his hero power.
Yeah, I guess it is a fine decision there because it's a little bit too risky to play out that Arcane Golem now. But boom! Instantly, there you go. There's that huge King Mukla. But of course, Korea has a way to deal with this.
Of course. So he's looks like he's choosing to put down an explosive trap and maybe Hunter marking Mukla. Yep, that's exactly what he did, dropping him to 5-1, keeping the bananas in hand for a big finish later on.
And that's actually pretty bad right now for WinSushi because he effectively gave him a free buff at the same time takes 2 damage. And look at that, WinSushi's already down to 20 life. Korea might be able to instantly finish this game off. There we go, the Cold Light Oracle going to come out to give up some card draw. And against the Hunter though, do you really want to give him that card draw?
Yeah, it's Hunters are very dependent on their Starving Buzzard combo to start drawing cards because other than tracking, other than Flare, that's their only big option actually to start drawing. And giving them cards voluntarily to start forming the combo is a little risky, I think.
Now, Korea can always just play this a little bit more relaxed. I mean, he can still... He doesn't need to force anything now. Yes, the Cold Light Seer is on the board, but that's just a Cold Light Seer, and it takes quite a bit of mana if WinSushi wants to, play that whole entire, roulette there with the Leroy Jenkins and bouncing him back with that Shadow Step. So I think Korea here could probably just take a step back and just continue with hero power. Or do you feel he should put up even much more of aggression, maybe even play the Arcane Golem and buff it up so it doesn't die?
Well, as you just said, the Miracle Rogue is mana dependent. He gets his big combos by using up all of his mana in the late game. So I don't think it's a good idea to play the Arcane Golem and speed him up towards that process. So I think he's gonna just play it safe and just exactly like he did there, whittling down, putting Sushi on the timer with his hero power.
Yep. So just the hero power down there and WinSushi, and now he is at turn 5, but he doesn't even have gadgets and auctioneer. So I think that's the biggest problem right now that WinSushi has. He's gonna go ahead with the prep into the eviscerate and even gonna lay down a minion and even weapon up here. So effectively, he has done about 7 damage this turn, which is pretty insane.
Yeah, but also if you take a look, Korea has the same option. He can put down Arcane Golem, put a banana on it, and also put Abusive Sergeant for also 7 damage.
Oh wow.
9 damage now
he's
even.
Slowly getting close to Eva. I don't think he has it just yet. But it's slowly reaching that stage. So
Definitely.
So here it seems like, if you think about it, that's about 5 damage plus 2, that's 7 plus another, that's 9 damage effectively. So I don't think he wants to rush this yet. He could possibly just go... would you actually place the misdirection here?
Well, let's think about what's Sushi's form of defense. Does he have a form of life gain or a big taunt that he can save him from a big rush? I don't think he has that option under standard Miracle Rogue.
Yeah, that is very true. So I guess Kriya can always just take a step back and just continue to just keep shooting him down from a distance. It is called steady shot for a reason. Just be steady. And
I think he has to really think about when he puts down that misdirection, because that's going to be crucial if he feels that Leroy is about to become a threat. And he can just sit back. He still has a fair bit of life. He still has 22. He has 9 damage on the board right now, in his hand right now. He can pull off at any moment. So he is still... That was
okay, so
a mistake.
I think that was quite a big misplay, actually. So he played the Buzzard after the Owl. He loses out on a card trend. Now he loses both his minions. And this is going to be so crazy. Look at that. 11 damage straight to the face and a conceal. Oh my god. Is that game? Did that just turn around in the blink of an eye?
What just happened to Korea?
I mean, okay, he does have. He does have a couple of options here. Would you actually use the Arcane Golem to instantly deal damage to the face right now? Or would you just not even?
Well, he doesn't really have any options. He doesn't have any beasts left to draw with the buzzard. Oh my gosh. And he's used up his misdirection.
Oh my god.
Oh boy.
Now this is interesting though, because if he decides to attack with himself, he will
He's
win this
gonna
game.
take 11. Yeah.
So essentially, if you think about it, had he played Arcane Golem there could have been quite a high chance that he would have been able to kill him off. So it seems like he's going to go ahead and attack. Misdirection is going to be proc right onto the 11 damage. So he could have actually won this game
Yeah,
had he
he
just played
could
the
have.
Arcane Golem. But of course, there's always a chance that Arcane Golem might have not been the target. So there we go. Krea, unfortunately, losing out the second game there to WenSushi. Man, a lot of misplays there coming out from Krea. I
Oh
think he's
my
feeling the
gosh.
pressure right now, coming out from Krea. I think from WenSushi's rogue right there.
Yeah, that's definitely the both of those plays that he lost with were pretty surprising. It's I mean, if you just taken a second to think or to make sure your mouse cursor isn't holding onto any cards before you drag. That's very heartbreaking. It could have gone either way, but those misplays really cost Korea.
Yeah, definitely. I think he could have been able to win that game. I mean, it felt like it was slowly in his favor. I mean, he constantly was in the lead. He was in the driver's seat the entire game. But man, we're gonna be jumping into a third game it seems, and it's gonna be a pretty interesting one. WenSushi is already up 2-0 against Krea, and now Krea is gonna be forced to be playing his Warlock here. We're not sure exactly what Warlock it is, but WenSushi, man, his Miracle Rogue is really bringing the gold back home for him.
So when Sushi really keeping up with his namesake of being the miracle rogue, showing exactly taking advantage. So even Korea doing his misplays is just half of the equation. It's also up to when Sushi to capitalize on mistakes like that and make sure he gets the maximum output. And it has paid off for him for both games. So we are now going into game 3. It is Korea's handlock versus Wen Sushi's miracle rogue.
And I think here, in your opinion, which class would you actually give the upper hand to?
I think handlock has the advantage, assuming that he has his defense set up, because we do know that if the miracle comes out and he has no taunts up, that's just a big finish, and he doesn't have the health to deal with the giant miracle combos. That said, Sushi's miracle rogue is limited in terms of removal, so he does have the saps. I'm not sure if he runs assassinate with this build, but he does have the saps. He does have the eviscerates and all of the blade flurry options. So, ooh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a big card to lose. Very, very big card. But again, I guess if you think about it, when Sushi did play the SI agent without even using its battle card there, so I don't think Kriak should be too worried about that too much. I mean, generally as a handlock, you don't have to worry much about getting rushed down, because if you do get rushed down, you start to push out very free Molten Giants onto the board, then taunt them up.
Yeah.
So yeah, this turn here, he's just gonna go ahead and throw down the Mountain Giant, and now when Sushi, I think he's gonna have a very hard time in trying to get rid of this. There is in fact no option here for him to kind of get rid of it.
Yeah, so it plays against him to actually sap a Mountain Giant, because he just comes down much cheaper next turn anyway. So it's a very bad card to play against a deck like Handlock, because that kind of removal isn't exactly to your advantage.
But the thing is here, at least in playing King Mukla, he will essentially make Kriya burn out one card, and he actually burned out on the Owl there. So that's actually also a very good card for him to have, and I think that's actually pretty bad. Now, I mean, Kriya has bananas to work with, so he shouldn't have to worry too much. He's gonna probably just heal this back up. He does have the Irving Fires here. Yep, there you go. He's gonna probably heal it back up. Now, do you think he should use like bananas onto?
I think it's a little early to say. He can use those as defensive as well as offensive later on. There's no threats on the board right now. Even if when Sushi decides to use a number of cards against the Giants, it's still gonna come out as a 2-for-1. He doesn't exactly have the best removal for that Giant, even at 6 health left.
Yep. So right now, Wensushi is in a really awkward position, for sure, because he doesn't even have. I mean, he does have one minion to play, but that's about it. And I don't think Blood Mage Finalist plus the Blade Fury is really gonna do much. He's gonna have to eat 8 damage and then Blade Fury here to clear the board, which I think he's probably gonna do in order to at least sustain himself in this game. Because if he leaves that on the board, it's just gonna make it so much harder for him as the time progresses here in this game. So he, in fact, does use the Blade Fury there, and in fact, gonna even use the Shift. He gets the Cold Light Oracle, so that's even much more card draw coming out for both these players.
Yeah, so it could be a strategy for him to use the Cold Light Oracle to maybe burn out some cards on Krea's side, but he is starting to play some of his cards. So he chooses to play his Black Knight Raw.
Uh-oh, he's going to lose again another card. Cold Light Oracle gonna make his appearance.
Oh boy.
I mean, he does at least get his Giant and his second Silence, so that is still very good, but we're gonna have to wait and see what's the next card that's gonna be destroyed. Like, I mean,
if it's like Jaraxxus or a crucial Alexstrasza, that is gonna definitely hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Because he is down to 18 health, so even if he is within range of his Molten Giants...
Oh
boy.
That's the Ancient Watcher. I guess it's alright in terms of like losing that card. He doesn't want to lose things like Giants, honestly, and all that kind of just... Oh, so here we go. Got a Silence. This is a good use of a Silence. Mortal Coil. Gets a Shadow Flame. That's a good card to have. Here, do you think he should start to utilize a bit of his cards?
I think he should start using the bananas. He's already lost 2 cards to over keeping his hand. He doesn't have a Drake anyway, and he's used both of his Giants. So I think it's pretty safe to start playing his cards right now.
All right. So the question is here is, yep, he's gonna go with double bananas onto the onto Allura Man right there, the Black Knight there. Now it won't die to things like SI Agent, unless of course Mensushi is willing to eat up 6 damage just from his own dagger. But yep, he's gonna go ahead and play his own Gadgets and Auctioneer here. Gonna go ahead and backstab the Owl. And he still has a couple of plays. I mean, he could go for an Edwin Van Cleef play, but I don't think that's a play he really wants to go for. So he's just gonna go with the Sap onto the Mountain Giant, and even gonna conceal his hand, making sure that his card generator there is gonna be safe for the time being. So again, Wensushi playing it really safe, and he generally knows the mechanics of his hero, so he's doing a really good job. But of course, there is the chance of that Shadow Flame, which I think is probably an easy usage here. 6 damage to the face. Do you think he should even tap?
I think it's safe to tap because he can use it now and then play Jaraxxus later. So he would still be in a safe spot to tap.
Alright, so whether or not he taps, we're gonna have to wait and see. But I think here it's kind of like, alright, so Krea's just gonna attack. It seems like he wants to end the turn, which I guess is also fine. He's a little bit afraid of like Leroy Jenkins combo right now, because that will be able to do a lot of damage against him and put him in a really, really bad spot. But Wensushi here though, I mean, he did draw into a second Gadgets and Auctioneer, which he could have potentially played right there. But he's just gonna go with the, with the play here of the SI Agent and the Edwin Van Cleef. So that's actually 2 beefy minions on the board. That's actually very, very strong. And Krea, look at that. He doesn't have a way to deal with this.
Yeah, where are his activators? He really could use Defender of Argus or one of his Sun Fury Protectors. Where it's just not coming out for him.
Yeah, and we might be looking to a potential win in this next turn. Currently looking at the hand of Wensushi, if you think about it, because he's gonna be able to do a lot of damage. I think he might even let's try to see, like, if he uses Shadow Step on to the free and then plays it again, that's effectively 2 damage to the face. Then he can always just cold blood his, Edwin Van Cleef and then eviscerate, and the whole vicious cycle starts all over again. So I think he does have more than enough damage to actually win the game, or maybe just enough.
Yep, that's right.
So
it's
here,
also yeah. I think Krea's luck has run out. He's not just not drawing the right cards.
Do you think he has to Lord your access and kill off the free? Like he will
Oh
lose
my
essentially
gosh,
quite a lot, and yeah.
that's I think that's a pretty bad play because that's just gonna drop him down to 12 health
Hmm.
and puts him in range of Leroy and Van Cleef next turn. So
Hmm.
I think he just has to just suck it up and put down a giant and see what happens.
Yeah, I would kind of agree with you in that regard. At least establishing a giant on the ground would be better. Do you think he should just try to risk it and tap?
Oh my gosh. Tapping is so dangerous right now with Van Cleef
Wow.
already 6. Oh my gosh. That's 9 damage on the board. Potentially something. Okay. So he chooses to go with the Jiraxis play.
All right, he's down to 12 life now. Is that gonna be enough damage though? Oh wow, that's the okay. There we go. He top decked the second Cold Blood, and I think that's gonna be, in fact, the third game here. Holy hell! Korea unfortunately falling short against Wensushi, the Miracle Rogue himself. He is gonna take a 3-0 clean sweep against Korea here, and boy, oh boy, was that a very quick series going in favor of Wensushi. Wensushi, man, looking very strong with that Rogue. That Rogue is insane.
Oh my gosh. So we are going to see Wensushi in the grand finals. And we are now going to find out if his luck carries him through, if the miracle's still alive, if the dream goes on, and he takes the entire pot of gold.
Yep. I think that was just very much the most intriguing match there because it's a rematch in a sense. I mean, Cycle 1, Korea did win against Wensushi, and Wensushi, you know, he showed his power of that Miracle Rogue, and it's a miracle worker this time around, even winning him 3 games straight. So, I mean, he's going to have an easy ride there in the grand finals, and that actually forces Korea to have to go through Celador. And if he does even get through Celador, he will have to win 2 best out of 7 series against Wensushi. So, hopefully for Korea's sake, he will be able to, you know, push through. But at the same time, we've got Celador at the other hand of things. He's gonna have to be faced against Korea in this next best out of 5 upcoming series before the grand final. So guys, stay tuned. We have a lot more Hearthstone action. Katips, any thoughts about that game?
Well, that just proves what kind of miracle Sushi is made of, and it is a very strong miracle. It has just taken him. I don't think he hasn't lost a single game, hasn't he?
With the Miracle Rogue so far? Nope, I don't
Yeah.
think so. Not
Yeah,
at
that's
all.
right. So he is on a roll right now. Oh, and he hasn't won a single game. I say he hasn't lost a single game this whole day.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, so he is on a gigantic momentum. His druid is out of control. His rogue is
Rogue is,
obviously
yeah.
out of control. So whoever faces him in the grand finals is definitely going to have an uphill battle.
Yeah. So far, it's only 2 decks that is so. With that being said, though, guys, do stay tuned. We still have a lot more Hearthstone action. And again, we'd like to be very grateful. A huge shout out to our sponsors, Razer. Go ahead and check out Razer's Game Booster. It's a good way to share your games with the rest of the world due to its ability to share your recordings via Facebook or YouTube. So, if you want to learn more and download, you can go ahead and check it out there at razerzone.com/gameboost.